Hello and welcome along to the final episode of a very disappointing season from this FM20 story, The Head Coach. We're managing Salford, already relegated with a game to go. I'm sure you could have predicted that after the last one against Millwall. They've managed to survive by the looks of it. They just need to better Wigan's result today, so we'll keep quite a close eye on that while we're going. Preston, our opponents today, already down. They're going to finish bottom regardless too, but they can get within 1 point of us. And of course, they've got the manager who left Salford to join them, so we're going to be rivals in League One next year. We've got a lot of work to do over the summer. Of course, with no say in transfers and contracts, we'll be relying on our director of football, but we've got to think about tactics for next year, what we're going to do financially, things like that are going to happen off the pitch, and we're going to try and prepare this side for League One. I don't think we're going to get the sacks. It said fight bravely against relegation, and we've still got a C+. It doesn't look too bad, so I'm hoping we'll be able to keep our job. But we've got to play this game against Preston, try to finish in style, and that's going to be far easier said than done with the run we've been on recently. But first, before we go and get into that, take a look at our youth intake and the squad this season. A massive thank you to everyone who continues to follow the series. If you are enjoying it and seeing us fail, please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you haven't already, subscribe for daily FM20 content from both long-term stories. We'll be starting a new season in both saves at about the same time, so lots of transfer specials coming up this week, and lots of excitement and optimism ahead of new seasons, which will inevitably get blown away as we get a few poor results. But either way, for now, we just want to get this season over with. It's featured the first sacking of the save. You can obviously check back in the eye above to catch up with any of the playlists you've missed so far to see all of our woes this season after what had been a pretty remarkable upward spiral until that point. So a bit of disappointment this time, but I'm sure we'll be back, and of course with our new owner in charge we'll be hoping to get some financial backing too. But if we look at our recent results, they're the important bits going into this game. We lost every single game in April. So the first one you saw obviously against Millwall, it was followed by a 3-2 defeat away at Luton. We got 2 late goals as consolations, but it wasn't quite enough. A 3-1 defeat away at Brentford, again Connor Chaplin with a late consolation, before a 5-0 defeat at home to Bristol City, and then a 3-0 defeat away to Fulham. So our last 2 games, it's an aggregate of 8-0, and this month we've conceded goals galore. So plenty for us to be worried and concerned about, plenty of action and work for us to do in the summer. I'd imagine we'll have a change of tactic. I'm sure there'll be huge changes to the personnel. We picked up injuries along the way this month too, so that doesn't bode too well for next season. And the dynamics, as you'd expect, are absolutely abysmal. I've never had a dressing room atmosphere that bad in all the time I've been playing this game. Since the dynamics came in, was it 1 or 2 years ago? But nearly 2 or 3 FMs, and we've not been able to get it up that bad. So that's going to be awful, abysmal for the rest of the season, and a couple of players causing trouble behind the scenes. In terms of the medical centre, things not looking so great there either. We've been missing Zach Brown for a while. We've also been missing our first choice keeper for injury. Hallgaard's still out for another 3 weeks, as is Dave Kyle, the lone youngster, and Wes Burns was never near the squad anyway. But a few players that we're missing that we'd like to have about. It does mean that we've been able to give some game time to our young goalkeeper, Keith Milsom, I think his name is. It is. He's 18 years of age, 4.5-star potential, and with 2-star ability and coming through the club's academy. We have conceded more goals, but at least he's got football in the bank, and that's going to be massive for him moving forward. He may well be involved next year, so we've got to be careful and look after him. But let's go and get this last game of the season over and done with. It's second bottom v bottom. We have no bearing on anything else. We're both going to be relegated. We're both going to finish on our current positions. We'll keep an eye on Millwall and Wigan, of course. Massive games as they try to scrap and avoid relegation. And then at the top, Stoke and Leeds are well clear of the rest. The playoffs, it could be anyone there. Birmingham chasing. There's one team that's going to miss out. Brentford, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham. Imagine if it's one of the Sheffield clubs there. That would cause devastation for them. But into the game we go. Let's see who the favourites are. Still Preston, as they've been in better form recently. Andy Scott, the former Salford manager, I'm sure he'll be happy to see some of the lads. And for us, we've just got to try and get a result. But with this sort of morale and reputation, it's very hard for us to compete here. There are a couple of bids in from our director of football, trying to keep 2 of the loan players for next year. There's one that he was selling on as well, but I'm not quite sure what's happened with that one. So we'll just leave him to do his business. We'll talk about that at the start of next season. A big transfer special, I'm sure, for League One, and hopefully we'll be able to bounce back to the Championship. But as we head into the game, the lineup is as follows. Keith Milsom, the youngster, in goal. Devlin and Field, the fullbacks, with Beresford alongside Sykes in the middle. Ogilvy's training rating's gone down again, so we've had to drop him out of the side. I've been so disappointed by him as a leader. He's one of the captain candidates at the club. He's a highly influential player, and of course he's just been causing trouble. So I'd love him to go, to be honest. In midfield, we've got Ryan Jack and Ben Close. Ryan Jack recently signed a new deal. He's here for next season now on £8,000 a week. Probably the highest paid player at the club at 33. It's a really strange decision from our director of football, but let's not doubt that that, we'll do what he can do. I wonder actually, has he got a relegation clause in there to reduce his wages? Yes, 25%. So he will go down to £6,000 a week. That's not quite as worrying. So alongside Close for this season and probably next too. Teller on the right wing coming in for the injured Dave Kyle. He's not had much game time, but he has got a long contract here. So I'd imagine he's one that will feature in League One. Again, he's got that wage drop, so not so much to worry about there. Labala over on the left and then Lucas Smith up front. The one man who's looked like a championship player since coming in. But even he hasn't been able to save us the last month. And he's alongside Connor Chaplin today. The only man to make it to double figures for us this year. It'll probably be one up front next year, so we will have to be a bit more careful with that. Unless we end up with a back three, of course. We've got a lot of good centre-halves, a lot of good central midfielders now. So let's just see where it leads us. But today we just want to get this season over with. Try and get a result against Preston. And we'll get into the final match of the season. Fingers crossed we can end the championship year in a high. 4-4-2 for Preston as well then. A lot of young players in that team. Yes, they've still got Maguire up front. Ben Davies as centre-half. But aside from that, it's nearly all regens. There's lots of young players in that team. And that's something that's going to be a bit of a concern. Are they going to be quick? Are they going to be too pacey for us? Of course, in January, I'm sure Andy Scott signed a few as well. They've got Connor Simpson on the bench. Anyone remember him? From our Dorking Wanderers save, he had a good spell there. Half a year, he didn't really make it, set the world alight. But of course, he is better in this save. Not had the same injury problems, I'm assuming. But let's go and talk to the lads. We're going to ask them to prove a point. Just try and put in one decent performance. We'll go and show the world what it takes. And a lot of the lads are motivated. So let's see if they can build on that confidence in their performance. And hopefully finish the season with a bit of style. Well, nearly 20 minutes gone. No highlights so far. And there's only one thing different to normal. We've still had no shots, none on target. Not really created anything at all. But Preston have created very little as well. Normally they're getting loads as Beresford scores. Where's that come from? The first highlight we see is a corner into the box. Only our second of the game. Is not headed away well by Langton. And Beresford, the centre-half, with a wonderful finish. Let's hope he stays here next year. And we lead 1-0 with half an hour gone. We're cementing our place as the second worst team in the league. And even that's a very slight overachievement. It'd be great to get one over on the former manager. Devlin into the box. Labala heads over again. We're really coming back into this now. But as we say, Preston not created much so far. Very rare for a team playing against us. And if we look down at the bottom of the league, Wigan and Cardiff staying the same. Millwall winning again, so it looks like they're going to be fine. And as it stands, we're 7 clear of Preston now. And it looks like we're going to finish comfortably in second bottom. You can see the weather conditions aren't helping as Preston picked up a late yellow in the first half, presumably for a dirty sliding tackle. We're going to ask the lads not to get complacent, keep that focus on board. Moving to the second half, it's not been a great game, but we're not worried about that. We just need to get this result. It'll be lovely to finish the season with a win. But as I say that, we've got a little injury. Tom Field picks up a knock, he's going to have to be replaced. Connor Ogilvie, probably one of our best backup players, not been training well though, so I'm a little worried about that. And it's been all Preston in the second half so far, and that goal kick from Milsom's not going to help anyone. Ogilvie's the man trying to close down though. Forced back to Rankin. It's not really much pressure on us from the Salford players. So Preston bringing it forward. There's no real pressure at all. Though Ogilvie does head that away second time round. He only heads it as far as Rankin again though. Back to halfway. We've really pressed them well there. But it's still Preston coming forward. O'Reilly in the middle. Finds Smith on the overlap. Down the right into the box. Maguire's there and brings it down. He's forced backwards and we're clinging on at the moment. But this is concerted pressure from the away side now. O'Reilly picks it up in the middle again. He's playing a 1-2 with a booked bait. Out to the left, Ogilvie's missed it. Smith skins him in towards Simpson. Just wide of the post, the man we mentioned pre-match. Got on the pitch as a substitute early in the half, but he's put it wide on his weaker foot, and with an hour gone, it's still 1-0, and it looks like we may hang on for the result. So that's a good goal kick from Preston out to the left wing. Schwartz taking on Teller, the auxiliary fullback. He's playing as a right winger, don't forget, but he's so deep in the pitch there as the ball's worked up to Maguire. Simpson on the overlap to Schwartz. Oh, Milsom's palmed it in. It was straight at him at his near post. Almost reminds me of a goal I saw in real life last week. I can't remember which one it was actually, but it was one palmed in. It was Adrian, Chelsea-Liverpool in the FA Cup. It came straight at him and he palmed it into the side netting. Almost the same there, and it's back on level terms, and Preston absolutely dominating this half. So we're going to go to a more positive mentality. We're going to demand more from the lads as well. We've been everywhere in this second half and it's been all defensive, to be honest. As Smith's coming forward again, they might get two here. Preston shoot, but it's wide and wayward, and thank God for that because we weren't surviving it, and with 25 to go it remains 1-1. Into the last 20, 2 more subs to be made. Labala's nervous, so he's going to be replaced by Carl Edwards. The same for Jack in the middle, so I think it's going to be Joe Williams as a ball-winning midfielder on support. And then for that, we'll drop Ben Close to a defensive role. A deep line playmaker on defend. That'll just give us a bit of solidity with Ogilvie at left back. And hopefully they'll be able to have a little bit of pressure on the lads and get us working a bit higher up the pitch. 15 to go though, it's still 1-1. Preston been the better side despite being below us in the league. But we keep that 4-point cushion and we stay in second bottom. And that's just about all we could have asked for from this year. So we are going down. We've got to start preparing for life in League One. Let me know as we're going along what sort of tactics should we play? What sort of positions do we need to improve? Of course, we can't do that, but we can sort of force the director of football's hand, upset players that we want to move on. Of course, the likes of Ogilvie and Falevi will be in that group as Preston send a shot harmlessly wide. That was closer to the corner flag than the goal. In the 4 minutes of stoppage time, it's still Preston coming forward again. Schwartz picking it up on that left wing. They've dominated there in the second half, but Teller's nicked it and now we've got a chance. Lucas Smith's in behind. Can he find him? He's held up for too long and switches it. Edwards gets on the end of the poor clearance though, but he's conceded it to Paul Smith who clears long downfield, and Connor Simpson holds it up well to target man. In the centre circle, gets it wide to Schwartz. Teller nowhere near this time. He's not going to win it back for the second time of asking. Gets to the byline. Good block though, Schwartz. Williams counter-attacking the sub. Gets there first and now he's on a charge. Lucas Smith's in if he can find him. He's tried to be greedy. Why didn't he pass it? And in the end he's tackled and he's cleared. I've no idea why we're seeing this 3-minute highlight. There's been no chances from it yet. As Maguire goes inside to bait, I may be forced to eat my words. Back to O'Reilly. Just wide from 30 yards. A cracking effort on goal. But there was no need for us to see all that build up. And it is going to finish 1-1 here at Salford City. We do get at least a positive result. No defeat after 5 in a row. But we're not pleased with the lads and it's a terrible way to end the season. We draw against the only side that have been worse than us all year. So there's the confirmation. Wigan relegated with us too. Cardiff survived by the skin of their teeth. Millwall in the end with a 6-1 win against Bristol City. That's a Bristol City side that beat us 5-0. That shows you the difference between us and some of those. Charlton did get a rare win with some goals from Arezzo as well. They finish in 19th place. Disappointing season for them. Schumacher still in temporary charge, but they went for another manager and they got worse after we left. And that's something that's very important to me. Makes me look like a better manager, so I'm happy with that. Few players on the transfer list. We don't even need to worry about them at Salford. They won't be able to afford them. But if we go and have a look at our finances, things looking okay, just about in the red, but we've got all the money to come next season. And 2 players whose loan offers have been accepted. Tom Field out just a week, so it won't harm us for next year. And of course some teams securing their playoff spots as well. Sheffield Wednesday missed out. Brentford got up there, they finished in 4th, and then alongside them are Birmingham and Sheffield United. And Sheffield United in at the expense of Wednesday. Goal difference separating them. That'll be a tight one, a tough one for the fans to take. It's very tight in that top half. Luton down in 14th, they got 67 points. Of course the side that were up there early in the year, they beat our Charlton side easily. And unfortunately they weren't able to make it, and we weren't able to get the job when it came up. Interestingly there actually, Alex Mowatt's got the second best rating for the average rating in the league. A really good central midfielder, started the season well for us. Didn't play much after I left actually. He was starting regularly before then, but for now he got relegated to the bench. And with 3 more messages to read, nothing exciting, we're just going to leave them. We won't deal with a press conference on camera here. So we move on to our end of season review. Let's have a look at the players, how they've got on, how they finished the year. Of course we were only here for part of it, so we can't judge too much. Lucas Smith, that's the difference he made. An average rating of 7 in his 16 games. Falevi was better but only played in cup games, and he's been such a troublemaker off the pitch. There is no way I'm letting him stay here. I'll force him out, I'll get angry in the press, I'll try and wind him up, and hopefully the director of football will sell him then. We've got a few experienced players. Ryan Jack, a January signing, he did well as well. Orlando Charlesworth came in and did a decent job. He's got a new long-term deal now. Of course, he was out of contract when we first joined, but he had a couple of very good games for us, and I'm sure he'll contribute in League One as well. If we go in appearance order though, you'll see who the main performers have been this year, the likes of Chaplin and Sykes. Let me just get the injured players back in as well. Jacob Horgard top of the list, Dave Kyle not far behind. All of them had pretty average years. In terms of goals, only 1 in double figures. That man was Connor Chaplin. Thomas not far behind. Smith got 4 when he came in. Charlesworth, Edwards and Beresford with the rest. A few with 1 goal but not many contributing. So many players that didn't even get 1. In terms of assists, no one really up there. 4's the most across the team. So we've got to work on creating chances next year. It's been such an Achilles heel for us, but defensively we've got to find that shape as well, so hopefully in League One we'll be able to do so. I wonder how they came up from League One actually. I've just got to go and have a look at the club. How did they get to this position? Club information. Last year they came up in third, so it was only the playoffs. Oh no, it wasn't. It was second. So they were third in League Two, second in League One, and now we've got relegated from the Championship. Sort of following the trajectory of my beloved Luton Town in real life. It looks like we're coming down this year after back-to-back promotions, and only one place higher in each of those first 2 years, so there's a very similar parallel between the two. But a 2.5-star reputation, which I'm sure will drop off and probably make it harder for us to sign people as well. Otherwise, the facility's not great, poor for training a new facility, so we're not going to get people in that way. We've got very good academy coaching, but that's going to be by the by at this point. Let me show you the youth intake quickly as well. It just came along a few weeks ago and it is very low key. Lots of players not worth keeping there. I think there was one slightly better one in the under-18s. Let me just go and show you him very quickly. Andrew Fletcher, the 16-year-old. I'm sure it was him, was it? Let me just have a look. Yes, it was him that came in. A striker who can't finish. Probably playing over on the left wing. He might be able to make it as a National League player there. But he's never going to be good enough for this level. Though we have got a couple of others coming through who may well just about make it as Football League pros. But back to the squad. I'll finish with the contracts just so you can see the players who are likely to be leaving. Of course, the director of football could give us plenty of shocks. 2 of the loanees we've got offers for, but the rest look like they're going to be on their bike. So that's Thomas, Kyle and Astley. A huge amount off the wage bill for those though. And then Flanagan and Mampala out on loan. They're out of contract as well, so they're likely to be moving on this summer. But it doesn't look like the rest are out of deals. So most of them have got a contract for next year, so it will just be who he chooses to sell. And a lot of experienced players I'd imagine will stay, so hopefully they won't decline too greatly. But if you did enjoy this episode and that very bizarre season, please do put a thumbs up on the video. I really do appreciate your ongoing support. Of course, we managed 2 clubs, got sacked from one and relegated with the other. Probably a bit of a horror year in terms of the rest of this series. We've been brilliant so far. It's been an upward trajectory. It's all gone wrong and fallen down this season though. So we'll have to rebuild from League One next year, managing Salford, who should be a top side. So hopefully we'll be able to get good players in the summer, and our director of football will give us a squad we can compete with. Let me know in the comments with the players we've got what you think we should be doing in terms of tactic. I'm tempted to go to a midfield 3. I don't care about the rest really, but I want to create chances, get the ball wide, get crosses into the box for the strikers, and at the moment we just don't have the personnel to do that, and we're having to scrap for our lives defensively. We've got to get used now, adapt to being one of the better teams in the league, so we'll spend our pre-season forcing a hand as well. So we'll try and get some lower league friendlies, work on being an attacking side, and build the confidence with a few goals as well. But we will be back with our transfer special on Wednesday, so if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content. That one will be back. It'll be a massive one in the summer. I'd imagine there'll be a lot of upheaval at the club. And then we'll have our first game of the season on Friday's episode as well. So lots of exciting times to come this week in this series. And then the same applies to our one club story with Dorking as well. We just about met our expectations at the end of the season. We'll have our interactive end of year review tomorrow, including a player of the season vote, our plans for the summer, who we're looking to move on. Of course, we're in charge of everything off the pitch there, so it's a very different style of series to this one. Everything's focused off the pitch there, and we'll talk in depth about our plans for next season. And then on Thursday we'll have our transfer special in that one too. So back-to-back summer transfer specials, one where we've got no say, one where we control everything, and it's going to be an absolutely cracking couple of days as we look to prepare for the optimism of a new season. Finally, I'm part of a podcast that does matchday vlogs and interviews, and you can see the link to the matchday vlogs in the eye above. A massive thank you for everyone that's given them a try. We do appreciate your positive feedback greatly. We've got a couple of other series on there as well. You Are the Ref, a light-hearted one, fairly interactive, so get involved in the comments with that series. And then also a more serious discussion about injuries, particularly in amateur football. So I hope that will resonate with a few people and hopefully help you if you've had struggles with that too. But a massive thanks for watching this one and following along for another season. I'm sorry for all the disappointments, but you have to have 1 year like this in a save. And I hope you'll come and stick with me for the start of next season, as we've got a big transfer special preparing for life in League One.